So who remembers that band from the 90s, Busted? Yeah? Matt Willis is in this movie. Remember Matt Willis? I mean, personally, I was more of a Charlie fan because Charlie went on and did that Fight Star band that had that one song that I liked. We're going to be talking about Wolves of War. That's right, everybody. I am back, and I am here to talk about the new movie, Wolves of War, directed by one Giles Alderson. Giles and I have been talking on and off for a few years now. He does the Filmmakers podcast, but here we are to talk about his new film. But first of all, let me do all of the pimpage and the business stuff and the paperwork. My name is Kevin Halden. This is Nerdly Out Loud, and we are the official channel of nerdly.co.uk, your favourite British home for all of your news, reviews, and exclusive interviews. I like to cover everything from the big budget to the no budget to the low budget, with a special keen interest on the lower end of the scale. And I guess you could say this is one of those lower budget movies. However, Giles has been leveling up with every movie he makes. He's been picking up more and more and making better films. For this movie, we have got Matt Willis from Busted, as I said up front. Awesome. We have got Ed Westwick. Remember him from Gossip Girl? Yep, Ed Westwick is in this movie. We have got Rupert Graves, and we have got Sam Gittins. More on him later. But before we get into this review, please do all of those wonderful, amazing things that we always ask you to do. And that is to hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and ding that notification bell. The notification bell will let you know whenever I drop an episode, whether it's an interview, a review, an unboxing that Phil likes to do. He loves all those things. We have got loads of more things coming in. I am working on a few partnerships. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. So please do check out all of that stuff as well. When it comes down to how I break down the movies, I like to talk about the plot of the movie, then I like to talk about the cast and the characters of the movie. I like to get into what I did and didn't like about this movie, and then I will talk about my final rating, my Nerdly Out Loud rating, which is the rating of one Kevin Halden of Nerdly Out Loud, not the rating of Nerdly as a whole thing, because we've got many freelance writers, people who have their own opinions, and we like to encourage them. So yeah, just take my review, put it to the top of your pile, and then everybody else is after. So we join our band of British soldiers at the end of World War II, and they're going to be going into enemy territory in Bavaria to go on one sort of final mission to retrieve a professor who kind of has the format or the plans for a nuclear warhead or nuclear bomb, and he could change the tide of the war. He could change everything for the rest of the days and have nuclear deterrence on the go. So they're going in to get this guy, bring him back. I wouldn't say it's exactly the most original plot for a movie. I think we've kind of seen these, team gets together, goes in, gets someone, comes back out. That's fine though, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All you have to make sure you do is that you do the stuff you're supposed to do right. And that is where this film kind of lives and breathes. It does everything it's kind of supposed to do right. You know what I mean? That makes sense, right? But you obviously on the way, you've got all of your team who have got separate skills. You kind of got a sniper guy, you got a thief guy, you've got just a badass guy, a war hero, so all these guys come together to kind of make a team that is going to go and do it, and they're all going to use their different skill sets. And that's the other part of kind of the story, these guys getting to know each other, us getting to know them, and how this mission's going to go on. Because as is always the way, it's not going to go swimmingly. It's not going to be straight in and out and gone, because what would be the point in that? We are going to come up against some badass people, and we like to call them Nazis. So our main cast, I've pretty much said most of the names anyway, but you do have Ed Westwick of Gossip Girl, is playing very against type. He is playing very different role here. Yes, I know he's done a couple of war things lately, but this is another facet, another string to his acting bow. I really liked him. He does get most of the action shots, but my only thing with Ed Westwick is he kind of just looks too perfect all the time. He could be running through the gunfire, and he can be running through the fields getting shot at, explosions, and he's still going to have that beautifully coiffed hair, and he's just not really going to look like he's been in a war. They do muddy him up, they do dirty him up, but you still just kind of see Chuck Bass, you know what I mean? Matt Willis for me is somewhat of a revelation. Yes, he has done other things, but I don't think I've seen him play a role as sort of leading as this. Like, he's pretty much almost top build, or at least level pegging with the guys. He's fantastic. He's got some great little monologues in there. He really brings a lot of drama and tension to the role and to the rest of the gang, trying to keep the team together, but also, he's a little bit weary of who to trust. I really like Matt Willis in this. Of all the characters that you truly, truly buy, it's his. I think Sam Gittins is an unsung British actor. This kid is so underrated, unbelievably underrated, and I want to see his star blow up. And I think it will. I think it's coming. We've been seeing him in the past years growing and growing and growing. Break was a big movie for him. I'm just a big fan of Sam Gittins. The Irish accent in this movie, was I loving it? I don't know. He pulled it off enough for me to enjoy it, and the character was really cool. He is that sniper character, so he does have the best scenes. And I was really on board with Sam Gittins all the way through this movie as Deegan. I will say the Black Beauty scene, no spoilers, but the Black Beauty scene, I was okay, but I'll let it go because at that point I was all in anyway. I was enjoying what I was watching. So yeah, keep an eye on Sam Gittins. That kid's going far. Rupert Graves is Rupert Graves. I mean, that's what you get when you get these movies. You have a director who's up and coming and on his way and making his name. And as he starts making his name properly, he can draft in some well-known faces. I mean, that's Ed Westwick, that's Rupert Graves, Matt Willis. Put these guys on your poster and it's going to hit the shelves and it's going to sell. It's going to hit streaming and it's going to get streamed. People are going to watch it. He's basically doing what I expect Rupert Graves to do. Doing it very well, playing the role very well, but he's doing what I expect him to do. It's Rupert Graves. He's awesome. We love him. Our female leads in this movie, Anastasia Martin and Eva Magyar, both brilliant at what they do. Great little roles. They don't have a massive great deal going on, but we get a little bit of character work and we get a little bit of backstory. So you buy what they're doing and you buy why these guys would kind of gel with them and they would all kind of work together and do what they needed to do. So I really enjoyed those roles as well. So what I did and what I didn't like, what I will say is I have seen a few of Giles's movies now. And this one for me is one of the best looking movies he has done. Visually, it's pretty stunning. There are moments like, I know you're kind of making a war movie, so all you really have to do is have fields and wide shots of seeing just the whole countryside and the war going on and everything like that. But they do it beautifully and they make it work for me in a way that it makes it all feel real. And then when you come in for the close-ups, I can buy it even more because we're right in there, even if it is Chuck Bass's beautiful face. But when you get in there to the nuts and bolts of what's going on, so I think the DOP, the cinematographer, has done a great job here. Recently, I've really been harping on about sound design. I don't know if it's just something I'm picking up on as I get older, but for me, this movie, at times, the sound is a little bit jarring. It's a touch overwhelming. You've got these big action sequences going on, and it's all fighting, all guns blazing, all pew pew pew, everybody shooting people. But the sound is kind of drowning things out a little bit. Come on, just tone it down a touch and let me get on with this movie. It's not a massive gripe that I have with the film, but it did at times make me think, just turn it down a touch. It's kind of outweighed by the visuals that I'm getting because they are looking great, but that's the only thing I would say is maybe turn that sound down a touch. And I've got no real issue with script or dialogue because it's Ben Mole. If you know Ben Mole, it's a name that we've all seen before. I think last year I reviewed his Code of Silence movie, which was about the Krays. I raved about that. I thought it was very good. Stephen Moyer film. If you haven't seen Code of Silence, you absolutely have to watch that movie. So Ben Mole knows how to write a solid script. Is it perfect? No. But it's one of those movies that sort of lends itself to some of the tropes, some of the cliches of war movies and whatnot. So I kind of have to give it a little bit of leeway on that. So I'm not going to harp on too much about that. Let's just get into my final rating. So one of the things I always like to see when I go from movie to movie with director to director, I like to see a director leveling up. And I feel like Giles has done that here. Giles Alderson, as a director, definitely knows what he's doing, definitely is stretching his wings in terms of genre because he just seems to be hitting a little bit of everything. And everything he touches has been pretty solid so far. I've enjoyed most of his movies, if not all of his movies. He's brought in a very good cast here who have really helped bring things on. Like I say, Matt Willis, a revelation. I thought he was great. Ed Westwick, I'm getting what I expect. Ed Westwick just keeps impressing me that little bit more every time I see him. Rupert Graves, he's a legend. He's just going to do what we need him to do. Sam Gittins, I'm telling you, keep an eye on that kid. He's going far. So honestly, I don't have a lot of bad things to say about the movie. It's definitely not perfect. There are some explosions that just didn't quite work for me, but then there are others that work just a little bit too well, where you sit there and go, whoa. And what I mean by that, and no spoilers, but there is a bit where one of the Germans fires a rocket or an RPG at our gang, and it looks like they're being protected by just a pallet. Literally just a pallet. It might be more than that, but it just looks like a pallet. And it doesn't absolutely decimate it. It just makes a little explosion, and I'm sitting there thinking, there is no way these boys are surviving that. So overall, I'm gonna give this movie a 4.5 out of 5. I really wanted to drop a 5 on this movie, but I know there's something else from Giles. I'm just hoping for the next step, the best thing. So I'm saving my 5s for those movies, Giles. Don't get upset. But as a director, going places, doing things, absolutely on his side. As a movie, this movie is solid as hell. You will enjoy it. It's another one of those sitting down on a Sunday afternoon and putting it on, and you will just be blown away by what's been done. So with that, my name is Kevin Halden. I have been Nerdly Out Loud. No, this is Nerdly Out Loud. I have been Kevin Halden, and we are the official channel of nerdly.co.uk. Your favourite British channel for all of your news, reviews, and exclusive interviews. This movie has been Wolves of War. Get it, check it out, you will love it. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend, and come back for the next review.